Okay, if you have not previously heard of the group known as the Fandom Menace, this is your big chance to learn something new. There's a group on YouTube and on Reddit and on other social media, generally referring to themselves as the Fandom Menace. It's a play on words from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And basically, it's Star Wars fans, Doctor Who fans, Star Trek fans, and fans of other science fiction and fantasy that want to see these franchises go in a different way than they have been going in the past few years. Namely, they want the social justice narratives to be removed, and they want the priorities to be on storytelling and enjoyment of the material first, and then perhaps putting social justice commentary and PC culture quite far down on the list of priorities. Basically, they're just tired of seeing good storylines sacrificed for the sake of social justice. Well, I can't say that I disagree on anything along those lines. I can't disagree on those points, but I would not call myself a member of the Fandom Menace because it's not my focus. It's not my focus when I take a look at things. I'm not here to decide something as being rotten or fresh based on whether or not I think it has too much social justice commentary in it. I will comment when I think that's the case, but it isn't my top priority. But let's take a look at the Fandom Menace. I put that search term into Google. And one of the very first results I got was a petition on change.org from someone who is very much not a fan of the Fandom Menace. They are well, they created a petition called Ban the Fandom Menace, and I thought it was kind of funny, and I'm going to take a look at that right now. This is straight up a Fandom Menace hater, if you will, but I found this funny enough to do a little video on it to add it to the archives to see what else pops up in the future. I can refer back to this. It's certainly not a very successful petition. It has only 370 signatures. And it's been on change.org for 5 months now. Some of those signatures, actually quite a lot of them, are probably just signatures people put on there to put comments actually against this particular petition. And we'll see that at the end of this. But let's get right into it. The Toxic Fandom Menace is the graphic that they've put at the top. And I've highlighted some major points they're trying to make in this big gigantic wall of text, but let's read into it. It's by somebody named Riley Beckman. Hello, we are positive, kind, loving people out to spread all sorts of positivity to the world. Well, we'll see. And one of the biggest things we love is movies. Always loving to share our opinions and spread the joy and love movies have given us, and recently we now wish to defend the films we love by any means necessary, especially from a group of social media YouTubers and users that call themselves the Fandom Menace. We want to remove the Fandom Menace off YouTube and other social media sites because they bully and harass fans, cast, and crew members of several critically acclaimed box office hit films like Disney's Star Wars, Marvel's Captain Marvel, and several other Disney or non-Disney related products or projects. You know, it's interesting. I'll stop right there. I've highlighted these two first points, and they're kind of contradictory, aren't they? First, they say they're positive, kind, loving people out to spread all sorts of positivity to the world. But then in the next paragraph, they state, we want to remove the Fandom Menace off YouTube and other social media sites. So basically, they want to ban people's speech on YouTube and other social media sites. But at the same time, they're out to spread all sorts of positivity to the world. That doesn't quite jive, does it? Last time I checked, censorship wasn't something that was high on the list into the category of spreading love throughout the world. But let's move on. I just find it's kind of funny that they contradict themselves right away. But Let's continue. The Fandom Menace posts videos on YouTube reviewing films when in actuality they are just belittling, mocking, harassing, and bullying the cast and crew members, accusing them of ruining the films and for containing political themes and calling fans of the films SJWs and shills, while hypocritically stating they love the franchises and respect fans' opinions and criticism. They also prove to be very manipulative, always trying to twist things to make them, the victims and the fans and the film crew they're harassing, look bad. They're also prone to be slightly racist and sexist, as they denounce everything about diversity and empowerment, claiming it's SJW pandering and showing strong hatred to many female leads in films. They just simply fail to understand that diversity is a wonderful thing in the world, especially in filmmaking, and it can lead to more magnificent opportunities and changes everywhere. A lot of great films are proving diversity is wonderful, especially the Disney movie Zootopia. That movie was the best. That's a whole lot of words to basically say that this petition creator thinks that diversity is the number one priority in a work of fiction, certainly in Star Wars and Star Trek and in Disney's Marvel films. It has to be diversity first, and that's the priority. And that's, you know, even in Zootopia, they're listing Zootopia as diversity. I'm not sure how that works exactly. Maybe it's diverse animals. I don't know. In any case, they're stating outright that diversity is the priority, nothing else. I'll have to disagree. But let's read on. For 2 years, ever since Star Wars The Last Jedi was released to critical acclaim and box office success, the Fandom Menace has harassed fans and the filmmakers constantly on YouTube. So they're stating that it all started with Star Wars The Last Jedi. Not exactly. There's quite a few articles out there from other journalistic, if you will, sources that claim this actually all started back in 1999 with the release of The Phantom Menace. I'm kind of leaning in that direction. It didn't actually start with Star Wars The Last Jedi. Fans didn't just start criticizing Star Wars when that movie came out. No, this did start many, many years ago. 1999 is a far more accurate starting year for this, although it wasn't called The Fandom Menace. But let's read on. While those magnificent films remained unaffected by those hateful words, as those films were beloved by many fans, praised by critics, won and got nominated for tons of big awards and no Razzie Awards, and were huge box office hits worldwide, the Phantom Menace still could not accept those facts and continued with their actions. Their hateful actions had led to several incidents, like American actress Kelly Marie Tran getting harassed constantly that she left social media altogether, and a social worker for a Star Wars-related charity getting sent to the hospital for heart problems after she was harassed by several Fandom Menace users after she gently complained that they stole her charity's logo and used it for their own means. Wow, that sounds like sinister actions, doesn't it? So, a bunch of YouTubers decided to call themselves the Fandom Menace and criticize Star Wars and the direction of Star Wars and the directors of Star Wars films, and don't forget about Doctor Who and Star Trek and etc. And because of that criticism, it caused somebody to have a heart attack. That sounds like a very nefarious plan. It sounds like pure evil to me. But let's read on. Those poor girls, but at least for Tran, it was a good move for her to leave social media because she is focusing on the positive comments many fans are giving her. We're doing the same as she gave a memorable supporting role in The Last Jedi. We hope her career remains bright. So they're also saying that the actress Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico in the Star Wars Disney movies, that she left social media because of the Fandom Menace harassing her. Well, I haven't seen any evidence out there of that. It is true she left social media, or at least she left Twitter, but as far as I know, no, she has never stated anything about any Fandom Menace harassing her off of Twitter. But let's move on. Now, this paragraph may be a bit dark. Really? From somebody spreading love to everybody? Okay. This paragraph may be a bit dark, and we're sorry if it may be, but we just feel it's important to say it to get the details across. Here it is. There's a bunch of Fandom Menace people around YouTube and social media, but 5 of the biggest offenders are Geeks and Gamers, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, That Star Wars Girl, Mindless Entertainment, and The Amazing Lucas. Well, just as an aside, it was Comic Artist Pro Secrets that first used the term the Fandom Menace and popularized it. So they've got the names correct. These people all identify themselves as the Fandom Menace. I'm not sure if they're actually carrying cards in their wallet to denote this, but they probably should. That's the way this is coming across. But let's continue. Geeks and Gamers does all those things the Fandom Menace does, while constantly showing his hypocrisy, first stating he likes something like Last Jedi and Force Awakens, or is excited for something like The Mandalorian, but then later recants his former statements and said he isn't, even at one point destroying a Blu-ray DVD of The Force Awakens, which he claimed to like. Comic Artist Pro Secrets makes videos of him stroking a Star Wars figure in a very unusual manner and constantly hates on all films that have female leads in them, including the upcoming Charlie's Angels reboot. That Star Wars girl states she doesn't condone bullying, especially to kids, but ends up bullying a 14-year-old kid anyway because he disagreed about her opinions, and she and other Fandom Menace people even used the recent passing of her sister as an excuse to insult the fans even more. Mindless Entertainment yells and screams a lot in her videos, always insulting and degrading the films she hates, and The Amazing Lucas does the same too, even saying that people who love The Last Jedi or recommend it to people are on the path to darkness, and wishing that everyone who worked on The Last Jedi gets cancer. Do those sound like legitimate opinions and constructive criticisms from those people? Actually, they do sound like legitimate criticisms. You can disagree with them and you can say that you wouldn't put it in those words, or you can agree with them. But yeah, they do actually sound like a bunch of people's opinions, and opinions are all kind of legitimate, aren't they? I mean, assuming you think they believe those opinions. But let's continue. We most certainly do not think so, and we believe things like that should not be tolerated. If someone does not like a movie, that's good, but they should share their opinions in a very constructive, fair, and appreciative way, something that I've seen a lot of YouTube critics and film critics do, and what the Fandom Menace doesn't do. So, when somebody shares their criticism of some kind of work of fiction, they should do this in a manner that doesn't offend you, and if it offends you, you need to have them silenced. That's how this comes across. But let's continue. This petition is also created for another big reason, to encourage many fans to unleash their praises for all the projects that are bashed heavily by the Fandom Menace. Here's our positive praises. For example, Disney's Star Wars films, especially The Last Jedi, are brilliant masterpieces that do justice to George Lucas's franchise in a very fresh way. And we send our congratulations to directors J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson for their marvelous visions. Captain Marvel is a great Marvel blockbuster that allowed Brie Larson to make a great mark in the MCU, and we're looking forward to the next MCU projects that bring out a more diverse group of actors and filmmakers. Stan Lee would be proud. And as long as Disney and Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy is in charge, the Force will still be with Star Wars. Well, so this is a big fanboy or fangirl of Kathleen Kennedy. That's really nice. And they're saying that The Last Jedi was a brilliant masterpiece. Well, that's your opinion, and the Fandom Menace completely disagrees, and I also completely disagree. In any case, let's move on. So go ahead, unleash your praises for those amazing films, because when you sign this petition, you will never again be ashamed of liking those films the Fandom Menace are trying to get you to hate. We also created this petition not only to bring a little positivity back to the world and film fandoms, but also to show that despite what they may think, the Fandom Menace are just a vocal minority of people whose words will not be listened to. We believe the world needs less negativity, and so with your help from friends and family and many fans of all those projects, we can make this petition to ban the Fandom Menace from social media and make the world a little brighter. And let's see, there are 2 people that have left comments. They probably signed this just to leave these comments. The first one 4 months ago, the Fandom Menace is awesome, so yeah, let's give it more exposure. And another one from 4 months ago, we are the Fandom Menace. We only want good writing and respect from those who make a living off of us. If your shit sucks, it's not because we're afraid of women, it's because we're afraid of shitty writing that disrespects legacy characters while trying to promote their own. Yeah, it's too bad more people didn't sign up for this petition to leave comments, but 2 people did just to talk against this petition. Now, the people they've named in this petition, they are probably the most prominent members still to this day. 5 months later, they are the most prominent members of the Fandom Menace. Probably, they've left out some big YouTubers in there, but for the most part, they're correct. They really don't like anybody criticizing The Last Jedi or Captain Marvel. I'm not Fandom Menace, and I can say that Captain Marvel was one of the worst MCU films. Irregardless of what the box office numbers claim to show, it really was one that I thought was ridiculous, nonsensical, and didn't work with the logic of the MCU. It was like a retcon, like a shoehorning of something in that didn't belong. And I can say that The Last Jedi was a film that obviously in January of 2020 has been largely made irrelevant by Disney by the next movie called The Rise of Skywalker. So I'd say the Fandom Menace, I'm more in agreement with them than ever before in January of 2020. And as you can see, this petition, it didn't get more than 370 signatures. So apparently the people that are against the toxic Fandom Menace are greatly outnumbered on YouTube and on Reddit and probably everywhere else. And I just thought it would be interesting to just drop this into a video and archive it for future references. And I will see you on another episode of Rotten Reviews.